Welcome to the Scandinavian Mind podcast, where we every week talk about how technology is transforming the creative industries. Today on the program, do Nordic brands get TikTok? We focus on the rise of the famed social media and entertainment platform, why it's more popular now than its competition Facebook and Snapchat, at least globally, what happens when new generations start using TikTok as its primary search engine, and how brands should use TikTok to boost their engagement, or should they? We talk about the implications of the Chinese ownership. And finally, we look at which Nordic brands are doing it best on TikTok. I'm Konrad Olsson, editor-in-chief and founder of Scandinavian Mind, and I'm here again with my dear colleagues Roland, Philippe, Kretzschmar, editor-at-large, and our editorial production manager, Erik, Sedin. Guys, welcome back.
Thank you. So stoked to be back, finally.
Yes, finally. Best day of the year.
This is the longest summer vacation I've ever had from a podcast. What is it, 3 months ago?
It's the last day of September. So I don't know. Could it be summer? No, it couldn't be.
I'm actually inspired by the podcast summer break. So 3 months. That's my life goal, to kind of, go away June, July, August, September. That's okay. 4 months. That would be nice.
All right, so for this new season, we've been mixing it up a little bit. We tried to sharpen this format, this weekly podcast format, trying it a little bit more focused, something a bit more useful for our listeners. We're going to do one main topic each week, and then we'll end at the end. We'll talk a little bit more of a lightning round about other topics that have come up during the week, what we look forward to, stuff that we've been publishing on the Scandinavian Mind platform. But today we're going to talk about TikTok. A little bit of a TikTok for dummies, perhaps, and we might be the dummies ourselves. Guys, are you users of TikTok yourselves? Erik, how about you?
Yes, I've fully drunk the Kool-Aid. I'm stuck, and I can't get out.
And Roland, how about you?
Personally, I stay off unless I monitor what my daughter is doing, and professionally, I'm engaged through the various brands at different levels. But yeah, we don't have official accounts, but we still need to consider TikTok in the channel mix.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to begin this, because I think there are a lot of people still that are hesitant about TikTok, curious about TikTok, don't really know how to use it. I still meet people who think it's only an app for like 16-year-olds, which it's definitely not right now. If you look globally, TikTok is ranked as the most downloaded app in the world for the past couple of years. It's got an average monthly spent of this, and this is statistics that blew my mind recently. It's got an average monthly spent of 25.7 hours. Almost 26 hours versus Facebook's 16 and Instagram's 8. So these are global numbers, obviously, but it's staggering how much of our engagement TikTok is sort of ramping up.
I'm actually mostly surprised about Instagram's low numbers.
Yeah.
I thought, generally they would be higher than even Facebook. I mean, who uses Facebook these days? Apparently, someone.
Actually, a lot of people. And I mean, if we look at in the Nordics, this is globally, so take that for what it is. If we look in the Nordic, like I found numbers from Sweden, for instance, where figures published by ByteDance, which is the parent company of TikTok, indicate that TikTok has like 2.8 million users in Sweden. This was early 2022. So around 3 million users. That is compared to Instagram that has 6.1 million users in Sweden. So if you look at Sweden, where we live, and this is our perspective, it's obvious that Instagram is by twice as big. So your perception there, Roland, might not be so surprising.
What about you, Konrad? You haven't answered the question.
All right, so back to me. No, I mean, there was a meme going around, I think 6 months ago. We might have mentioned it on the podcast that said, I don't use TikTok. I use 2-week-old TikTok videos that are posted on Instagram like an adult, and that meme sort of hit it right in the gut for me. When I think of TikTok, I mean, I use TikTok. I have the app. I go on it. I try to open it once a week just to get a sense of it. Like you, Roland, I see how my daughter is using it. It's a constant battle for for the TikTok usage, because it's really like a drug for the young kids, I think. And pretty significantly, like I think for many people, I mean, these numbers, for instance, the official numbers for TikTok usage is people aged 18 and above, but I think the dark numbers are pretty much higher, because a lot of, I mean, my daughter is 12, so she technically isn't allowed on TikTok. I think the official threshold is 13.
This is when she's gonna get banned.
Yeah, exactly.
When the TikTok executives listen to this podcast, they're
Yeah,
gonna...
the algorithm hears everything.
You know what?
Always connected.
That would be amazing. As a father, that would be, I would, I would be super happy about that.
Like when my daughter got banned from Roblox because she purchased Robux currency with my credit card without my knowledge.
So you banned her. They didn't ban her.
No, they banned her actually, but I
Okay.
managed to get it back.
That's amazing.
Yeah, since me being in this trio here, I'm the one that actually uses it. All I can say is, you said there, Konrad, that less people have TikTok, but they spend more in total, more hours than on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
And then just to me, it's just like this. It's just because, and everyone knows about it, this well sharpened algorithm that TikTok has. Like, for example, let's say you guys are hanging out on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, Snapchat. For you to like really find a new favorite content creator or like a phenomena or like someone you want to follow, someone has to show that to you. They have to share that in a story. They have to repost it. They have to tell you through a DM, like, hey, look at this. This is cool. TikTok just shows you like in infinite numbers. It goes on and on and on. The algorithm is really good at, it's like your plug. It doesn't gatekeep. The TikTok algorithm is like, it's the gatekeeper's worst nightmare, because you can't hide there. And for brands, this is something they really need to get into, because they don't really have to try that hard. The algorithm will showcase them to people.
But this is the part of the problem or opportunity, right? So it's a two-sided coin where obviously, like any other social platform, it's content driven, but it is a certain type of content that gets that the algorithm would like, right? So and at TikTok, it's in its extreme, right? So I mean, we obviously, if we've followed media in the last couple of years with Meta and elections in the US and other examples, I mean, there's a lot of challenges with how the algorithms pick up content that is not, let's say, politically correct, in some cases even extreme. And I think that it's the same kind of mechanism behind TikTok, but maybe less extreme political content. But still, I mean, I think that is in its core part of the challenge with TikTok, that it just picks up the most extreme content elements. So to my view, I mean, I have used TikTok even if I decide not to use it, but it just becomes it's like a constant drug high. There's no like mellow, there's no relaxed, there's no like chill out. Everything is just like on top, super high energy.
For sure. I mean, and it's obviously, I think this is what drives engagement. I think this is also why Meta and Instagram has really pivoted towards the same type of content, moving away from sort of the social aspects of the social media and moving more towards the entertainment aspects. Whereas I mean, we monitor our content weekly on Scandinavian Mind. We see that the content that goes directly to our subscribers or followers are being down prioritized by the platform, and the types of content that we publish as reels are being up prioritized, meaning the content that goes out to kind of anyone, even if you don't follow. And I think this is the flip side to what you just said, Roland, is the opportunity of TikTok, where you can come in as a newbie, as a new brand. You don't have to necessarily have the hundreds, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of users to create something that can become viral. And I've been speaking to people in the PR community, and when it comes to how they assess influencers and so on, your following is not as relevant anymore. It's the
No.
the latest engagement on the latest posts, that's how you are assessed as an account today.
So you mean like real-time assessment? So basically, if you're 1 week, you manage to get a lot of attention and likes and shares and engagement on posts, and then the next week you don't. So basically, that means that you will not be relevant anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Kind of.
Well,
In a nutshell.
it's easy to get back on the horse. Next week you go again. I
You
think
haven't
Well,
built
if you have the machinery or energy or both that is required to
Mm.
produce that kind of content, right? So if you look at the biggest influencers on TikTok, if I look at what my kids follow, and I mean, it looks kind of easy and relaxed and cool, but then the backs on kind of the back of it, it's a huge production machinery. I mean,
Mm.
you have assistants and script writers, and it's kind of, it's faked reality in many cases. I mean, many of the influencers on TikTok are highly scripted. It's not like so I think that is also an element. If you're a company, for example, if you want to do something relevant in social media today, it's not enough to just put up a post and you have to really have this kind of entertainment machinery behind it. It's almost like a new type of film industry where you have script writers and directors and photographers and there's a lot of people behind the productions, right?
I don't really agree.
So what are you not agreeing about? Because if I look at some of the biggest accounts that I see, I mean, it's more scripted than you think. It's not like you wake up, you go into the shower and you do a film. That's on Be Real, right? But TikTok is still a highly curated platform.
Yeah, of course, and it
Yeah.
will be more and more curated. You will have more and more people behind the scenes, I think. But I think from you, if you're looking at what your daughter or your kids are watching, influencers and people in that kind of entertainment business or industry, I think what really goes through, and I think that's what people like me that hang out on that platform so much, you can tell what's genuine and not. And that's what brands really need to focus on. Should we just have someone like, let's say they have a TikTok, like a communication person working for a brand or working for themselves? You can tell when it's genuine. You can tell when it's just they're, taking the time and focusing on like a trend without it being too forceful. Because TikTok, like in the comments, they will chew you up. The feeling I get is people on TikTok, people of my generation, you can instantly tell when it's fake and when it's not.
Yeah, but I think you're misunderstanding me, Erik. So if you go to the movies today, even if you're 16, so even younger than you, Erik, if the movie is well produced, you will still like it. If it's entertaining, you will like it. If it has a good script, you will like it, right? You will not say, "Oh, it's fake," because it was made in Hollywood. So that's the same. That's my theory is the same here. That it doesn't matter in a way if there's a huge production engine behind it, as long as it is entertaining or as long as content is relevant and engaging, right? But I'm seeing a shift where it requires more and more resources, production resources, to actually stay relevant.
I think I think you're both right in a way, and I think
Yeah.
what you're alluding to, Roland, is that to do a TikTok post, and I've been playing around with this for about 6 months now for myself. I do it for reels, but the process is pretty much the same. You have to think of some kind of story for the thing you're gonna have to publish. And for TikTok, I mean, that's the power of TikTok, is that it forces all the creators, and I think TikTok also has a much bigger percentage of users that are also creators. It's around 50%, which is much higher than compared to Instagram. So Instagram and Facebook have much more users that are more laid back. They don't publish; they just view what's on there. Whereas TikTok, about 50% of the people are on there actually produces, but it forces people to create something that captures your attention instantly. And whether that is an amateur, 15-year-old girl in her bedroom, or a big brand, the logic is still the same. But I agree with you, Erik, that the authenticity is key, and that all the data that I see and all the know-it-alls that talk about TikTok says the same thing. That's the exact same thing that you say about TikTok, that you have to be authentic. And the shift here, I think, if we go back to the perspective of brands, because I think this is that's the reason I wanted to talk about this right now is we have a lot of brand owners or people working for brands listening to this podcast within the industries that we are engaged in. So if it's fashion or design or in the fields of lifestyle, and there's still a lot of hesitation around TikTok, and the shift for fashion, for instance, which has woken up very late to TikTok. I mean, only a year ago, a lot of fashion brands were like, we're not on there. That's just for teenagers. Someone likened it to Instagram being sort of the magazine killer, because it was like the still image. It was just about that, and it kind of came alive through stories, but it was still like something very curated. It's about the visual, whereas TikTok is all about the storytelling. You're capturing someone with a story. You have something to say, meaning that's more of a, I don't know, YouTube or television killer, if you will. So that in that perspective, the platforms has different point of views.
Yeah.
And this was my point earlier. The production, let's say, machinery or mechanism that is required to stay relevant. It's not if you're a world leading influencer on TikTok, you're not spontaneously just doing your stories.
No.
There's a lot of thought put behind it, and there's a lot of people behind, because I mean, these people, they're earning millions of dollars every year, and they're not sitting alone doing it. That's all I'm saying. So the thing is, for a brand to think, oh, it's this 18-year-old girl in California in her bedroom, blah blah blah. Yeah, well, but she has like 10 people working with her every day to produce the content. So I think that in itself is a threshold that a lot of companies are maybe not kind of aware of, to be honest.
Could be, and I also think without scare, I don't want to be a TikTok ambassador here. I kind of am. Like I said, I drank the Kool-Aid, but I've been looking at some Nordic and Scandinavian brands that are on TikTok, and I'm kind of telling what are they doing wrong and doing right. We'll get into that later, but I think what that you're saying, Roland, is very spot on. That there's probably like 10 or 20 people behind each video, but it's how authentic it comes across. That's really important.
Yes.
It should look like it's one person. If it's like 80s, the brand from Sweden, if they're like walking the streets of Stockholm filming, outfit check on the street, might be like someone holding a light behind the camera, They have a light person, they have a sound person, but it looks like just someone's filming with their iPhone on the street. And that's what's so
point.
important. It has to come across that it's extremely authentic.
We're going to go into some of the Nordic examples, which I think is super exciting. One other way of looking at this, and one other way of looking at the popularity of TikTok, is that younger audiences are increasingly using TikTok as their go-to search engine. And I think this is not something to take lightly, at least in technology terms. I know Google is not taking this lightly, because they're seeing their engagement moving away from Google and to TikTok. Roland, you've been looking into this a bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is something we came across. I think there was an article shared already early July, and then it spread globally throughout the summer. But basically, as you say, I mean, new numbers being shared about how younger people are using TikTok as their primary source for search. So instead of going to Google for search, they're going to TikTok for search. And that actually blew my mind. I'm trying to be open-minded as a person. Professionally, I mean, it's part of my job, right? Since I work with digital transformation. But that actually blew my mind. I was caught by surprise by the number of people using TikTok for search. And obviously, my first reaction was like, I wonder how biased then the search results will be, or how skewed the search results will be. Like, how neutral results will you get? And I have not actually done the real deep dive analysis of that, but I mean, my kind of how do you say,
gut feeling,
amateur analysis of it is that it's probably going to show you a pretty strange view on life and the world around you, just as the algorithms are already kind of forcing you into some sort of content bubbles, right?
I think there are a couple of ways to look at this, and we can talk about the implications of the sort of the Chinese governments having insight into the companies and so forth. That's one way to view it, but The Verge had a really interesting article on this, and just to give an example of how this works. I mean, if you Google who was the 16th president of the United States, or that type of very concrete, specific, fact-based search, you won't necessarily get the right answer. You won't necessarily get an answer at all. So I think for that type of information, Google and Wikipedia probably is the best way to go. But I think what people are using it for, and this kind of makes sense when you think about it, is like, what restaurant should I go to, what clothing should I wear, or I have a back pain, how do I stretch the most best way. And so kind of practical, hands-on, pretty much kind of lifestyle choices that ends up
So why
giving,
would that make sense?
because I
Konrad, I'm
think
not against it.
no,
It's just for the sake of the argument here. Like, why does it make sense to
I
search in TikTok for a restaurant? I would never do that.
if all the sort of lifestyle choices that we have, I think we are increasingly looking towards what is put in front of our eyes, what gets engagement, what people are talking about. I mean, the kind of first, I don't know, kind of 1.2 wave of internet was like you had Yelp and TripAdvisor, and you have all these kind of places with published reviews, and you have you upvote things, and it becomes very sort of data driven. Today it's more engagement driven, so you want to know which restaurant my peers are going to, which is the cool restaurant, which restaurant gets the most likes and gets the most posts. And I think that's the type of content that you will get when you search. And it goes the same way with fashion works the same way. You don't Google a sweater and try to find the best metric for a sweater. You want to know who your favorite celebrity, which brand your favorite celebrity is wearing, and so forth. Erik, maybe you can give more context around this.
Yeah, I actually probably like a couple of times a week I do go to TikTok to instead of googling stuff. And to start with, like Roland started off by saying, maybe we shouldn't go into like the political and presumably apocalyptical society that would happen if everyone went to TikTok to go for all their searches. That would be awful. I think that would be incredibly dangerous too, like you said about the factual searches. But I can give an example that I did the other day, I think yesterday. I bought my first pair of white jeans. I never owned white jeans before. I bought them, they came home to my house.
Welcome to the club.
I would have asked Konrad for advice, not TikTok, but that's another.
I should have. Well, I went to Konrad's Instagram feed and looked at some inspo posts too. But anyway,
Do you have Konrad? Do you have like a white jeans account somewhere?
yeah, that's a good TikTok idea.
That is my only account.
Yeah, but anyway, so I'm standing there with my new white jeans. I never owned a pair of white jeans before, so I just went to TikTok and I googled style white jeans, or I TikToked style white jeans. That's all I put in there. And a lot of videos pop up from all kinds of creators, girls, guys, people from Paris, people from New York, people from London, people from Scandinavia. So the top ones that pop up when you search style white jeans, they are the ones with the most views. But I can kind of tell, like, this is some girl living in New York. She doesn't really look like my type of content. Being on TikTok a lot, I can tell from what kind of font is they using on the thumbnail? How is the thumbnail looking? How is the person looking? What is the setting? So I might be scrolling for like maybe 2-3 swipes or whatever, and then I see this guy. He looks exactly like my type. I press that, and that thing might have like 30,000 views, which could be quite few for TikTok. But algorithm kind of showed me, because I never seen that guy before. I might go into that TikTok and I watch him, and I can tell, and I watch his profile. He's wearing a lot of the brands that I like. He's hanging out at stores that I like. He's watching movies that I like. So the algorithm will kind of show me, at the very top, it will show me the biggest ones. But if you scroll down a little bit, it will show you what is suited for you. Because I didn't even know he existed, but the algorithm knew that that has seen some things in his videos that I liked previously. So then he will put up like a little vlog thing, like, these are 5 outfits you can wear with white jeans. And then I feel inspired, and I did it. Maybe like 2 years ago, I would have Googled like styling white jeans, and then maybe I would thought of my favorite magazine like Vogue or I don't know, GQ or something. Now my go-to, like I instantly thought of, let's go on TikTok.
So I totally get it with the example you just brought up, but I mean, just restaurant reviews. I mean, sorry, I would I would never search for a restaurant on TikTok. I mean, I don't know. I'm old school here. I'm proud of it. I would go to 4, 5, 6 different reviews, websites, some curated magazines specialized in food and wine, and and then I would kind of make up a kind of median review score out of all those reviews, right? That's how I would do it for a restaurant, for example. But then, just thinking while you're giving the example about the white jeans, where I might use TikTok for is traveling. So, for example, going to a destination or a hotel. That is something I can see a use case for.
And that's another example of what I did. I was in the Riviera. I was in Nice this summer, and I must have checked out like hundreds of TikTok. I just put like Nice restaurant, Nice beach, Nice secondhand store, and there's tons and tons of videos popping up. And like I said, you can kind of tell from what font is they using, how are they filming it, who is the person like in front of the camera. I don't even have to watch that, but some of them are like actually really good, or like you said, hotels and stuff, and it actually works far better than I think like Googling would.
I think what's fascinating here is that search is moving towards video as well. So you're not searching for text content, you're searching video content first, and I think that's a big shift that will have all kinds of implications. But we should move on to just look at some examples of the Nordic brands, and this is also why I wanted to do this. I wanted to look into what are the Nordic brands doing, who's on it, who's not on it. Erik, you've been looking into this. Give us a few examples.
Yeah, so I can just circle back to what Roland and I were discussing before about the authenticity and how many people are behind it, and if they have a whole production team. For example, Bang Olufsen, the Danish tech brand or speaker brand, they are doing awful on TikTok, absolutely terrible, because all they do is they have these really well produced, really great looking commercials that they would put on YouTube, they would put on Instagram. They just cut it for 916, like the TikTok format, and they just whip it on there, and they're like, oh hey, now we're on TikTok. That's not how TikTok works. People will scroll past that immediately because they can tell this is not supposed to be here. I think that's kind of like what you were talking about, Roland, how a lot of people behind it could have great camera guys, you could have sound guys, could have producers, but it has to look TikTok real, it has to look like it's supposed to be there. So Bang Olufsen doing a terrible job. They've been on there since like the summer, but they need to hire someone. I don't know who, but some Gen Z person to help them out.
Erik Sedin.
Yeah, it could be me. Could be me. If you're listening,
we'll
DM
take care of you.
And also, if we're going to fashion, Acne Studios, they posted their first TikTok a week ago. 6 days ago, they entered TikTok, which is really late. It's way too late. And that's a Swedish big fashion brand. It's huge, right? But if you compare that to H&M, which is another type of, it's a fast fashion brand, right? H&M, they uploaded their first TikTok 2 weeks ago. So all these brands are quite late. And looking at Acne, all they have put out is like some kind of runway videos. Doesn't really show us that much yet. They have like four videos posted. What I thought was interesting is if you look at some kind of brands like some more like playful and relaxed type of brands like Weekday Lace, for example, or maybe Monkey or these like H&M owned brands, they are doing quite well because a lot of young people go there to buy stuff. I think it will be really interesting to see how will Acne Studios, how will they adapt to the TikTok way of viewing things and TikTok jargon and stuff. I'm not sure how that will work.
With Acne as an example, I'm not that worried, to be honest. I think if you look at, just look at the latest show they did a couple of days ago. Just go to Instagram if you can't find it on TikTok. It just feels like it is the TikTok generation kind of fashion. They are on top of it. So I'm not too worried, actually. Even if you come in late, if you do it right, then it's fine, right? But I'm just curious, Erik, on the international fashion scene, which are the best brands?
On a global scale, there's one brand that's absolutely killing it, and that's Crocs. Everyone's favorite slipper brand.
Yes.
And I think, for example, Crocs, it's a brand that just naturally would work. Usually a fashion brand doesn't want to be the subject of low-hanging jokes. Like we all make fun of Crocs, But I think Crocs, they kind of swallow their pride, and they're being a brand that doesn't really take themselves too seriously on TikTok. And that is a tremendous advantage on this kind of platform. People make fun of them, they make fun of themselves, and they had this hugely successful campaign this summer. with like I think it racked up like 3 to 4 billion views, where they just asked
Wow.
people to roast them basically.
Mm.
So TikTok, that's one kind of. I think brands shouldn't really take themselves too seriously on there. And from a Scandinavian perspective, two that I really like and I think are doing absolutely amazing is Axel Arigato, the Swedish sneaker brand, and
Mhm.
now also they make clothes since a couple of years back, and the Danish brand Ganni. Ganni, what I think is really good about them is they're showing a lot of like I think it's really cool. It's really trendy now with like the whole Scandinavian Scandi chic thing on TikTok. So
Mm.
the Ghani people at the office or in Copenhagen, they will like film, oh, what are people at the office wearing today? These are the dogs at our office. We're a dog-friendly office, and the best lunch spots around our office. And you walk with these like Ghani employees in their like really nice outfits, going in Copenhagen, buying a coffee or a croissant or something. Really fun, really like lighthearted, and still a lot. They're racking up a lot of views.
Mm.
Axel Arigato, they're doing like more of like the meme kind of thing with trends and with if there's like a challenge going around with a dance or with a I don't know, could be a filter that's in. They're always really on top of it instantly, and that also racks up views because everyone knows from being on the platform from early and from being on these trends early and from being authentic. Axel Arigato has gotten a big following and they rack up a lot of views.
Eric, did you look at the differences, if any, between these brands on TikTok versus Instagram? Are they using it differently on TikTok versus their Instagram feed? Because I'm sure both
Yeah,
these brands
definitely.
started out on Instagram, so I'm sure that's where they started,
Of
and they
course.
sort of pivoted to TikTok, and that's where a lot of brands go.
Of course, it's different, and that's what I said when I took the example of Bang Olufsen. You have to adapt to TikTok. You can't just reuse your Instagram stuff or your YouTube stuff on
Mm.
TikTok. So it is different. That's what I was talking about with Acne. You know, Acne Studios, they have beautiful pictures for Instagram. How will they adapt that to the TikTok kind of vibe? You know, with it being a bit more casual, with being a bit more playful. That'll be interesting to see.
All right, guys, we have to wrap this up now. I think we said around 20 minutes for this, one single topic episode. We're well over half an hour. Maybe that's good. I thought that was really interesting. Just to end with a few recommendations or a few predictions, if you will. Roland, from your perspective as a marketing person, where do you think brands should go with TikTok? I know you working and your day job, absolute, you can't be on it because of age restrictions. But just as a general point of view, what do you think brands should do?
I mean, authenticity is not only on TikTok; it's everywhere, right? So you need to really have a clear brand purpose, and don't try to adjust yourself to the demographics. Just stay true to your brand values,
Yeah,
right? And then
yeah.
people will find you.
I agree full-heartedly. Like I said, the algorithm will give you in the right direction anyway. So if you like one type of brand, one type of content, the people will find your brand at the end of the day. If you just stay true to yourself.
All right, this has been a great conversation on TikTok. I hope you guys listening found this useful. Guys, is there anything you want to add? What are you looking forward to right now? What are you excited about? Roland, I'll start with you.
Super excited. It's not Ye this time, it's about Pharrell. So Pharrell is always relevant, right, for all generations. He is now launching Jupiter. So it's a digital first auction house where he basically sells off his stuff. It's like garage sale 2.0.
Wow.
It's basically, he's had these collabs, Louis Vuitton and all the Goya, all these big fashion brands throughout the years, and jewelry, clothes, luggage, cars. I mean, smartphones. He's done everything, right? And apparently, he has like 10 storage houses full of stuff. And I think he's 49 now. He's reaching a phase in life where he is also realizing that, hey, maybe I have too much stuff. So he has created his own auction house. I love it. I think it's brilliant. I'm probably not going to afford anything, but it's. I think this is the starting point of something new and fresh. We're going to see other celebrities doing the same thing. Then, obviously, a bit cynically, it's also a great way for him to earn some more money. But
So celebrity resale.
Jupiter.
Jupiter, celebrity
Ah,
resale.
yeah, but next level.
Eric, anything you want to recommend? Maybe your own TikTok account, perhaps?
Yeah, everyone should follow me on TikTok. the best account on there for the latest trends, the latest filters, the latest everything. I've actually made to be fully serious, I made a football account. We were talking about football content with a couple of friends called Onside. So you can search for that. We racked up, I think, 18,000 followers since like half a year. So we're doing great on there.
And I'd like to recommend book recommendation. I'm fully immersed in Matthew Ball's book, The Metaverse, that came out a couple of months ago. Matthew Ball is one of the most thoughtful writers on the metaverse topic. He's written some of the most important essays, and he's now gathered all his insights into a book. I'm sure we'll get back to this in future episodes, and it's a huge inspiration for our upcoming report on digital fashion, which we will be published in the Scandinavian Mind platform later this fall. Guys, this has been great. Inaugural episode of season 4 of the Scandinavian Mind podcast. Don't forget to sign up to our newsletter to stay updated on upcoming talks and events. Visit scandinavianmind.com/newsletter. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, not TikTok yet, but that might change after this episode. Again, thank you and enjoy the weekend.
Thank you. Take care.
See you.